You already know what it is. We are back once again looking at gold. You know you can come on down and get them Hollywood trades. We're gonna do a session study again right here on this one. Man, pretty much what we're seeing here is exactly what we said when we looked at it last time. We did go up into that imbalance already. As I said, usually if I see low resistance liquidity like this into an imbalance like this, you are going to hit that target. That is what it is. On this session, we have a lot harder of a zone to predict. This was pretty easy because that LR is just there, right? That low resistance. Boom, like I said, it's going to act as, look, this bar just burned it up, right? And then, of course, boom, boom, into the FEG, back up in there. We do have bearish liquidity here, though. So with that bearish liquidity being in, a lot of traders being stuck in these longs right here, trying to get out from this area here, you did get, because this was an entry. This right here was a great entry for these longs that did get disrespected heavily right here, unwittingly by the bears. And so when you get that trap right here of this very great entry that happened at 8 o'clock in the morning in New York, very heavy liquidity right here. And so we did get a bearish manipulation block. Now, as you notice, I have not marked this manipulation block. Why is that? There was another short move that did come out of this. What was that? Last night, I believe. Yeah, last night, a short move did come out of that from Asia. Asia does love to trade this. We do have the liquidity from the Reaper. And so we are definitely getting some crazy interactions. This is an IFVG here. That is what I'm concerned about, because what happens is once we close over the mid-range here, which is also now the body levels here, and which is also which if we close over the top of this IFVG, this all becomes support. So I'm not so much interested in this. After we close over this, this will become the target. On this session today, we do have the potential for that, but now we have created some bearish order blocking on the 15-minute. So far, no FEG though, no bearish FEG on the 15-minute, which is really indicative that we may seek the higher imbalances on the lower time frame, because there's a 15-minute and a 30-minute imbalance just above around 4100. Up in here there's imbalances that got left over from this drop. If anything, we'll definitely, I believe, hit this body level if we can get this bullish order blocking going on. They're having a crazy post liquidity release from 8:30 kind of interaction on the 5-minute. I don't even want to look at it. It's ugly as hell. So I'm just gonna focus on the higher time frames right now. We do have the 4-hour has shaped up to a nice CRT. That trade is finished, but we are still using this Reaper as resistance. As we can see, that upper boundary of this Reaper IFEG is a very sharp resistance right now. And so sorry, what we have on this session so far, I will scale down to my 30-minute here just to get a cleaner look at everything going on. Sorry. Again, to recap the session, I called this out in the Discord. This trade was a pain. Anybody who tried to, excuse me, take this trade, give me some of that agua real quick. Anybody that did try to catch this trade, they did take you down to your mean threshold of that block. And that's a crazy idea. But Usually, if you don't have an FVG, you will want to see price go down into the mean threshold or the mid range of your support candle, which is this one here. So that is what happened. Then that post release issue happened here. We cleared the sell side liquidity there. It looks like we might be creating a 4-hour order block at some point here. We have yet to see what New York Open gives us, but gold doesn't usually have a crazy New York Open. But to me, we are bearish just because our last hour was bearish. So we're existing inside of a bearish range. Our last 30-minute was bearish. Now, if we can secure a pretty decent 15-minute order block here, which is struggling really bad to do, we can definitely try to target this imbalance. Like I said, a small manipulation zone here as a result of, as I said, coming out of that breaker block here. It's very interesting. This is a very complex and interesting place. Usually you wouldn't even want to trade in here. I am long. I did get long from the wicking here. The wicking, usually when you start seeing wicking 15-minute, 30-minute, you can pretty much bet that we're still having a bullish target on this session. I mean, that's just a bet. Our 4-hour is shaping up very nicely, but again, we are using, there's like a 30 pip drop that we're having from this so far, from this high of this on this very candle, right? So we're finding it hard. We're seeing these wicks finding it hard to uh, stay above here. We will probably most likely need the next 4-hour candle to kind of give us some power. Maybe at around 10, 11 o'clock, usually in gold, you'll see some of that power. If I don't get stopped out, I am going to hold. My take profit is actually inside of this whole array right here, because we do have more imbalance here. The mean threshold of this block is going to be this bearish candle here. I am somewhat concerned about what happens when we hit this low right here. I am somewhat concerned about that. And I'm also concerned that the 15-minute right now is not giving me what I want to see. So right here is X marks the spot on that level. So I am very much concerned about that. Let me tidy up some of these markups. This is a balanced price range. So as you guys all know, my balanced price range entry and my candle range exit is pretty much what I'm always usually going to go for. So we did have the entry here. Our exit our candle range should tell us somewhere here. But then again, on the 4-hour, this candle range high is this, all of this is pretty much the high is what we're looking at across the board and in this range, which would also most likely, I would say 100% chance if we go for this high, get a session high again, we'll also hit this imbalance. I'm hoping that because we failed to deliver this mean threshold of this inverted fair value gap, because we failed to deliver that back down to break lows, which would be here. So far anyway, I would definitely like to see us continue up into this manipulation block zone, retest this liquidity here, because this is overnight. This is Asia. This is overnight liquidity here. This is proverbially easy liquidity here to grab with New York longs. We do need to see the dollar index. I don't usually try to do this, but we do want to see the dollar index continue to fail here. If we can get that continued failure of the dollar index closing below here and seeking further lows, this should be easy seeking of further lows. This is not yet a breaker. This is not yet a breaker, but this is a potential breaker. If we can get this breaker on in the next 4 minutes. Actually, this will be our saving grace on the dollar index. And let's just look at the dollar index overall in general. The dollar index had a really crazy response to its Fibonacci retracement here, and then we swept this high. We are still in this what balance price range here. Let's clean this up a little bit. And so this can still act as resistance. This price range here can still act as crazy resistance. We're still failing to close. Let me copy this over here. We are still failing to close above the upper premium of this balanced range. And so, and then we're having that 50% level response as well. This is all algorithmic stuff. Crazy enough, I actually put this buy side target here because that's really ultimately what we want to see. We want to see this taken at some point. I believe maybe coming from this fair value gap, maybe today this will be a bearish, maybe be a bearish movement on the dollar index because it's looking that way already. So once we once we close today's candle and we get a low of today, we can sweep today's candle. This being the highest candle, this low would act as a stop hunt. As any of the bulls here that are targeting this level and maybe a couple of these levels up here, maybe they will get hunted out, a lot of them, and then we, you know how that works. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. We are at 11-12 minutes right now. That's pretty much all I wanted to say for this so far. And very interesting. Again, the dollar index is dropping. That doesn't mean gold will drop. The dollar index can drop and gold can drop. But generally, we would like to see the dollar index remain weak. Again, this is a bearish level right here, because this big ass candle here is just a bearish range. This huge bullish candle, again, when you disrespect the bulls out of that and close below that, you expect this to remain bearish. This is they're not even approaching that level right now, which is crazy bearishness on the dollar index from this zone. So that's pretty much that, and we'll see where the session takes us. Go ahead and share this with somebody who really wants to understand price action, and go ahead and comment. Let me know if I missed anything. Don't forget to subscribe on the YouTube.